So, hello, I don't want to have to do this every single time to explain to you. This should become automatic. We're watching, please. You want to check that you're right, and we're going to substitute it back in. So what we're saying is, when I make A 9 over 8, I times it by 8, I add 6, I should get 15. So on your calculator, you are just going to go 8 times, what did we say A was? 9 over 8 plus 6. And when you pop that in your calculator, if you don't get 15, you've done it wrong, so you've got to go back and double check. So on your calc, let's everybody do it, please. So 8 times 9 over 8 plus 6, do you get? Yes, we know we're right, confident to move on. Does that make sense? So if you're ever unsure, is this right? Sub it back in and you'll be right. Write down the next question, please. The aim of the game is you want to get B all by itself. Now the 3 and the B, that's a times there. So they're best buds. They're together. We're going to separate them last. So what's out there all on its own? The 1. And so this is what we have to get rid of first. We look in front. Is this a positive 1 or a negative 1? It's a positive 1. So to get rid of it, we have to minus. So you're going to minus 1, you're going to minus 1. So, again, if you want to write the little minuses there, you can. What's 1 take 1? 0. So I'm left with? If you just write 3b, you're in trouble. You're right, it's negative 3b. You have to keep that sign in front. So I would write, that's gone, I write 7 take 1. And then my next line is minus 3b, 7 take 1 is 6. Now it's up to you. You should be able to solve it from this point. Eth, can you solve it? This is saying minus 3 times something equals 6. Who can just look and solve? I know Callum can. So no one's actually speaking up. No. Okay, so no one can just look and see this. I'd like to think if you had 5 times A equals 10, you would all be able to call out and say, well, A must be 2. You can just see it. Because 5 times what equals 10? Yeah. So sometimes people get so caught. Hang on. I'm just saying, sometimes you can look and you can solve, but you need to understand what it is that you're actually doing. You're saying, what number can I replace this with so that that statement is true? So 5 times 2 gives you 10, therefore A is 2. If you can't see it, if it's a crazy thing like we did before, we say, what's the opposite of timesing 5? Dividing, so you say 10 divided by 5, and that's how you get the 2. But obviously, if you can do it in your head, sweet. Agreed? I did hear people then go, oh, well, this has to be 2. Good. Shaking of the head. Correct. Because if minus 3 times 2, it won't give you a positive 6. That gives you negative. So in this case, we say B must be negative 2. Because a negative times a negative gives you a positive. If you couldn't see it, Ollie, frowning at me, if you couldn't jump and you couldn't do that, right? What you would be doing is you would have a line in here and you would say, okay, the opposite of times negative 3 is? Divide by negative 3. So you're going to do that to the other side. And what's 6 divided by negative 3? It's negative 2. Right? But you are by all means allowed to jump if you can see it. Ways. Why is it different? Is 3 different? Yeah, Ems? Okay, so we've got an unknown on both sides, and obviously the unknown appears twice. So you've got to have a game plan to do this. The game plan is that we want all letters on one side, non-letters on the other side. Good game plan? So pick a side. Shall we put the letters on the left? Yeah? So we want all the A's on the left-hand side. So this 5A, that's going to stay where it is. This A here, we want to get rid of it. Now, once again, we look in front. Coops, is that a plus or a negative A there? Look in front. Nothing is there, so it means it's a positive. So how do we get rid of plus a? Take a. So we're going to take a, but what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to take a. Does that make sense? On this side, I've got the 2. That's okay. I want to keep the 2 there. But this 7 has got to go. I don't like that 7. It's got to go. So we look in front of the 7. It's a negative 7. So how am I going to get rid of a take 7? Plus 7. So I'm going to add 7 to this side, which means I have to add 7 to the other side. What's 5a? Take 1a. 4a. What's 2 plus 7? 9. 4 times something equals 9. Well, I can't do that in my head. I know 4 2s are 8. 4 3s are 12. So it's somewhere in between. Wouldn't know. How do I get rid of that times 4? Divide by 4. So it's 9 over 4. We are done here. What they do is they get freaked with the fractions. All you have to do is rewrite it and it becomes a lot easier. So when you're timesing by 1/5, that is the same as dividing by 5. So this is the same as saying x take 3 over 5. X take 3 divided by 5 equals, it's the same, exactly the same. Yeah. And now, not so bad. Well, I hope. Remember, you all know the opposites of the operations. It's what order you have to do it in. Another big tip, read it to yourself. So if I was to read this, Mills, who would like to read this to me? X take 3 divided by 5. What's the last thing I just said? Divide by 5. So that's the first thing you have to undo. So what's the opposite of dividing by 5? And we do that to the other side. I mean, technically you're doing it to both sides. What's minus 1 times 5? Minus 5. And now we're nearly there. Something take 3 equals minus 5. I don't want this take 3. How do I get rid of a take 3? Plus 3. And where do we plus 3? The other side. It's all about the other side. And you know, if you're having a hard day, you could use your calculator if you're not happy with your negatives, but I'd like to think everybody knows minus 3 plus 5 is? It's minus 5. You come up by 3, minus 2. Right? Imagine it's not a textbook question. Imagine it's a test. You're going to go, am I right? You grab your calculator. You say 1/5. Oh, helps if you type in 1/5 and not 15. Shh. Right? X take 3. What are we saying X is? Negative 2. So we pop in negative 2. What does it then say? Take 3. So I put take 3, close my bracket. Now when I press equals, Coops, if I don't get minus 1, it means I've made a mistake and I'd have to go back and fix it. Lucky for me, huzzah. Minus 1, correct. Thank you. So hopefully you'll be able to tell me soon, yep, stop. I've got this, you don't need to go through these anymore. You right, Ethan? Okay. Best thing, read it. Read it and start with the unknown. X times 4 plus 9. What was the last thing I said? So that's the first thing that we have to undo. What's the opposite of plus 9? Take 9. And we do that to the other side. So we keep that 4x. The 9 has gone over to the other side. 21, take 9. Bingo, bango, bob. What is 21 take 9? Bless you. 12? 12. Now at this point, You don't have to finish off with any more algebra. You should be able to know. 4 times what gives you 12? 3. So you can say, therefore, x equals 3. If you didn't know that 4 3s were 12, you're telling yourself, what's the opposite of times 4? Divide by 4. 12 divided by 4 is in fact 3. But we're saving ourselves a line of work, correct? Onward. We got 5s, we got a 3. We can see there. Your big choice is to decide, what am I going to get rid of first? Tell me what and which one and why. Pardon? So, are you guys carrying? No, that's okay. Do you get this? You can work on. You don't have to listen to us. You don't need to. So, start with x. It's being multiplied by -3, and you've got this 5. How am I going to get rid of that 5? Will I plus it? Now, if I plus it, what's 5 plus 5? I'm making it worse. So what you have to do is you have to make sure that you look in front. Now, look in front, not behind. I know why you said plus, because you saw that take. You have to look in front. That is a plus 5. How do I get rid of a positive 5? Take 5. And you have to do that too. Correct. Now, when that 5 is gone, what am I left with on the left-hand side? Yes. Well done. So please don't just be mildly copying down and in one ear and out the other. Please look. Do this now and it will become a lot easier. So to get rid of that 5, we took 5 from the other side. You happy? Yeah. Why have I got the -3x there? Because that's gone. Keep the -3. Just write it underneath. Tidy up. What's -13? Take 5. -18. Champs? Yes. Now, -3 times what gives you -18? You're a legend. So you could say x equals 6. The rest of them, because it took them so long, they will have to go through and go, well, how do I get rid of a times -3? Opposite of timesing -3? Dividing. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 18 divided by 3 is 6. But you knew that straight away. You don't have to put that extra line in. Well done. Excellent. So we're looking, so x times -5, they're together. Mates, get rid of the +3 first. So how did you get rid of a +3? Take 3. Well done. And we did that too. The 18. The more confident you get with this, some of you might go, instead of writing 18, take 3, you might put 15. But while we're learning, keep it there so you don't make as many whoopsies. What is it? Correct.